We're good to go.
Good to go, thank you, brother.
My phone's in my pocket.
You got all right? Dan, you ready?
I am ready.
Loretta, you ready?
All ready.
Let's run them. I will call to order this November 7th, 2022 meeting of the Lawrence County Board of Elections. Chris, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. We have a quorum. Are there any members of the public wishing to make comment? I never would have guessed. Never would have guessed. Who wants to start?
I can go first.
Robin, all yours. Approach the bench if you would. If you want to stand, you can stand. If you want to pull a chair up, you can make yourself comfortable. Just please speak into the microphone. So we can pick it
I will
up.
make myself comfortable.
How you doing today?
I'm good, how are you? Got your coffee and I can help.
Living the dream. This is like the third one of today. I haven't slept in like 48 hours.
Okay, so I just have a
Please
question.
just state your name.
My name is Robin Singer.
We're trying to be official. We were scolded that we didn't mention names before. No, that's okay. No, please, go ahead.
Okay, so I have a question. I just need clarification because I don't know the procedure. I'm just ignorant on this, okay?
Sure.
If someone goes to vote, and I know this has happened in person at the polls, and they are told that they've already voted by mail, and they're given a provisional ballot, right? They fill out there, is that correct?
Depends on the circumstance.
Oh, okay.
So,
But
So it's
if
a
they,
good question.
but if they do, okay, so they fill out the provisional, say it's a valid reason, they have a provisional ballot filled out that's valid. How do you reconcile which ballot to count if your mail-in ballots have already been removed from the outer envelope where they would have, that's the only way you would know the ID of the person voting?
no, what would happen is if you sent in your mail-in ballot, we register it in the Shore system that you already voted. So you would be an ineligible voter in the poll book. So that if you would come into the polls and say you wanted to vote, we already received your ballot, you are not eligible to vote. Now, if you demand that you want to vote, we'll issue a provisional ballot to you. But if that mail-in ballot's in the office, that's what counts. Provisional ballot will be cast out.
How do you know that's, say like it's me and I know that I did not vote by mail, but maybe somebody else got my ballot and turned it in? How do you know?
That would be a challenge in court then, right?
Yeah, but how would you know? Just
Well, first
correct
of
me
all,
if I'm wrong,
go ahead.
but you've already separated the outer envelope in the morning. And you wouldn't know until I go to the polls, there's a problem. How would you find the possibly fraudulent mail-in ballot?
Have we ever encountered that?
never.
I've talked to people that have had that happen to them at gone to the polls and they've been told they've already mailed in their ballot and they can't vote.
Here?
In
Live in
Lawrence
Lawrence
County, yes, sir.
They never reported it to us.
Not to me.
Yes, sir, and that happened maybe last year, I think.
Yeah, they've never reported anything like that to us.
I don't know. But you understand what I'm trying to say, in this scenario?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're telling you that from an administrative standpoint and administering the election,
Right.
that's the process, what Tim just outlined.
Right.
If you do have an instance where somebody does have that issue,
Yeah.
call up the elections office, file a report, and at that point, again, it'll be our first time encountering something like this, but I'm sure between our attorneys and our election staff, we
But
can figure it out.
just for clarification, there is absolutely no way that you can find that mail-in ballot, is what you're saying, because it's already been.
It's already been in.
Process.
That's correct.
Right.
But with us checking signatures against what comes in, and we've had doubtful signatures that we call the voter and ask them. There's been a few of those that I've.
So you would just set those aside if you have questions?
Absolutely,
Not-
absolutely, but I haven't had any questions that we couldn't resolve. There was a person that sent one in that was mentally challenged, and the signature has changed over time. So we did reconcile that, and everything was fine. So there have been instances like that, but nothing in that extraordinarily that realm that you just presented.
I talked to some, precinct, judge of elections, and they said that has come up before in there. But it hasn't been reported.
Never been reported
on
So
to
it's
me.
not recorded, so you have no way of,
Yeah, it's never been reported on.
And that falls back on that judge of elections, and that would be an error, and that would be an omission on their part. And I'm not sure if that would not be fraud for them not to report it to us. So I'd maybe go back to that person and see what it was that they were saying to you and let them be more specific, because they were probably obligated by law to present that to us.
what if the person, because I think this is what happened, the person, they just left, they didn't stay. Because they didn't know what to do, like the voter just left.
I mean, that's on the voter then.
Yeah.
And sometimes
I think that's what
things,
happened.
sometimes things happen like that.
I
Yeah.
think the voter young man just
Yeah.
left the.
But always, please follow up with anything.
When in doubt, call.
Yes, please do that, because there's always a way to solve the problem, definitely. And walking away from it, and unfortunately, that person might not have got their ballot cast.
Right.
And yeah, stick with it and have whoever it is, make sure they get to us and let us know. Because we need to know that if it was actually reported to a judge of elections, that there should have been a notation on that, and they should have gotten back to us to let us know that.
Absolutely.
That's part of their job. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Ron. Who's on deck next?
I guess me, are you speaking?
Yeah.
You can go, you can go.
I'll clean up. Okay.
Make yourself, if you'd be able to state your name for the,
Yeah, right.
gotcha.
Thank you very much, and I talked to Tim this morning, and we discussed a couple of things, and I don't know if you talked to.
I have not had a chance, but please take that question so we can clarify.
So I printed off the ballot information on the rules, and it's dated for authorized representatives of pre-canvass and canvass ballots. And the version is 2.1 dated 10 of 2022. Sorry about that. And it says you can serve as an authorized representative. And the first bullet point is an authorized representative does not need to be a qualified elector of the county. So we had one person who had applied for canvassing and pre-canvassing, that she's a snowbird. So she lives in Florida, so she has a residency in Florida, so she doesn't register here. Okay, so according to this, she's qualified to serve as a pre-canvass and canvass elector, to watch the mail-in. So I would just kind of like to try to get her on board if I can.
What's the protocol there, Tim?
Well,
Or Jason, if you want to chirp in?
she's not a registered voter here in the county or the state. She's a registered voter in Florida.
But that's
Is
not
that
what
what-
this says.
I understand, but I'm just telling my solicitor that that's the circumstance.
What is it that she wants to be?
She just wants to observe the canvas and pre-canvas.
She wants to be a watcher?
She does, for the pre-canvas.
But here at the courthouse,
Yeah,
in the
to watch the
morning.
mail-in ballots. Her and her husband are signed at both of them, it's just nice that they both
Well,
participate.
the statute in the election code for the appointment of watchers requires each watcher to be a qualified registered elector of the county for the election
This is
district that the
different.
watcher is appointed.
Yeah, this is different, this is not really a watcher position, it's a canvas and pre-canvas, that's what what the documents say, from the
It's
state.
in the state guidelines.
Yes. So I just, I was.
Well, we can
Get her-
absolutely research that for you.
Would you
they
be-
get it-
Would you be able to provide
Today.
Jason with your phone number, and he'll be able to get back to you?
Sure.
Oh, you don't want to do that, you're on my.
Everyone will call you do this.
Here you
Everyone will
go.
call you to give you their opinion.
Oh,
They're on
that's
Facebook, they will let you know. They're qualified to give you that answer. I couldn't resist, Lynn. I couldn't.
So I had a couple other questions.
Sure.
I was a poll worker in the primaries, and one of the security folks wouldn't let anyone go into the precinct with a candidate's shirt on. And he would make them take it off and turn it inside out.
Mhm.
I don't see anything stated that a voter can't go in? I understand poll watchers and workers cannot.
It's tolerated.
Yeah, it's changed. If, it all depends on when the last time you were there.
Yes.
It did change the primary.
2016.
Oh, they should
They're,
not have.
they're taught in class that that is acceptable, it's tolerated. So nobody's asked to remove their shirt. It used to be that way
Right.
years ago,
Yes.
but,
Information lag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. I
so
just wanted to.
No,
point that
but
out. I think that's a
That's
little
too
embarrassing.
recent. Yeah, somebody should have known.
that's presented to the judges that it's tolerable.
And one other, what is your role during the elections in the commission?
Well, I mean, we're effectively here on the local level, police it. We make sure that, the laws of the election are being upheld. If we find in our judgment that there may have been a violation of the law, at that point, our role is to turn it into the district attorney. And that's effectively where it stops. We set up voting precincts, we make determinations as to people go to actually physically vote. And other than that, we handle the administrative back end. But we follow the laws of the Commonwealth. That's our job.
So,
We might, and whether we agree or disagree with
We
it,
do,
right?
right.
We follow
right,
the laws
I
of the Commonwealth.
understand, I understand. So I just would really like to try to get this one, if I can get a certificate, I would really appreciate it.
Well, like we said, if you'd be able to provide your on the side,
Yeah.
your cell to Jason will look into that and we'll get an answer to you expeditiously.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank
thank you.
I'm going, but go ahead.
What's going on, Lynn? How you doing?
I'm good. Living the dream,
Always.
48 hours.
34.
Yeah. Okay,
So
so,
who's counting?
so I'm Lynn Ryan, and I am also the chairwoman of the Lawrence County Republican Committee. And I am here on behalf of the party to make sure that our Board of Elections complies and follows the law of the Commonwealth. Because as of 10 o'clock this morning, through appeals, we were not counting undated ballots.
That's accurate, yes.
Yes.
So, then, do we know if Mercer County has any other ballots of those?
I am in close contact with that.
That's the
And
elections.
yes, and there have been none reported to me. He got to me immediately. And those ballots were delivered to me immediately on that day.
And I appreciate that.
Yes.
On behalf of all of the voters who have mail-in ballots, I appreciate that. Okay, so the pre-canvass law says that you cannot separate the bad ballots until tomorrow, correct?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Ballots that don't have a date, you can't start to canvass until tomorrow. All of our ballots are locked up, correct?
Yeah, yes,
Okay. And none of that starts until tomorrow.
yes, yes. We have them segregated. I was allowed to call them to give them a chance to come and fix anything that was wrong with them. I haven't heard anything as of right now. I have 17 undated ballots. I have them in a separate bag completely until further instructed.
Okay. And then also, it's come to my attention that some of our judge of elections don't realize that you have to announce verbally and also post at each precinct the results at the end of the day.
Act 77, you don't have to do the results or zero dates anymore. Post it. That was done away with.
Okay, because our legal with the PAGOP said that they have to verbally announce and they have to post at each precinct the results.
As far as I know, Act 77 said we didn't have to do it. I haven't posted results since Act 77.
Okay, so I'll.
But they'll have
legal
them,
team-
they'll have them available at the end of the night.
Right, but it says that the statute is that it has to be verbally for the site impaired and,
That is, I know that you're supposed to announce
right,
for
results.
voters.
I'll tell you
No,
what,
person's voters.
here's what we'll do. Jay, if you'd be able to look into that portion of Act 77, and what's the, Act 34, is that the other? If you'd be able to look into the election code and get an answer for Lynn on that one.
Okay.
That's all
And the announcing, you're talking about announcing each voter.
Yes,
I have.
Is that what
Announcing the results.
Oh, announcing the
Announcing the
results at the
results?
end of the night
Correct.
I've never heard of that.
The
That's
results
new to me.
verbally, announcing the
And with the
results
tape.
verbally and
and with a tape.
posted outside of each precinct the results
The-
of that precinct.
The posting, as far as I know, through Act 77, you didn't have to do that anymore.
Okay.
Now, the announcement that you just asked, that's new to me because there has not been this many watchers ever. So I'm sure that's why there has probably been no announcement. There was no one to announce it to.
Correct.
But now that I have the abundance of over 100 watchers, this is, we're going into new
Uncharted
territory.
territory.
We'll check that out for you, we'll make sure we'll get you an answer.
Thank you. That's
Absolutely.
all I had. Thank you.
Very good.
Last but not least, how you doing, Karen?
Good, Karen Klein, I'm a Republican committee member in Wilmington One. And just to follow up on Lynn's question, Act 77 says you don't have to post the tape anymore. That doesn't mean that you can't. Is that correct? I mean, the
Sure.
law is not now saying you can't do that. So why wouldn't we just continue that practice, at least especially now that we have a lot of people really interested in how the process works? And people are taking a close look, why wouldn't we just continue that practice? So I would ask that the county please consider that. I have a question about at the last election board meeting, there was not a report or discussion about the logic and accuracy test. Is that something you could?
Do we have the report?
I have it in the office. I presented it to the board after it was done and everybody agreed that it was very accurate and,
It was not discussed at a public meeting or approved in a public meeting,
never have done that.
required by law. It's required in the sunshine law.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, in terms of, if the election law requires that it's approved in a public meeting, that's one thing. But if we've never formally approved it because the election law doesn't make us formally approve it, that's another thing. So if the election law requires that we approve that,
The election law requires that you do it, so the only way for the public to know that you have is for you to record that at a public meeting.
well, but to your point there, the election law requires that we do it, and it was done.
Correct, so how do you prove it if you don't tell the public that you've done that?
Well-
That's my point.
But
That's why the sunshine law,
the election law requires that it's done, and it was done. If you want a copy of that, we can give you a copy.
Sure, no problem. And as a matter of fact, I had a public test Friday, nobody came. And that was gonna be the logic and accuracy test, the exact one that I do for the logic and accuracy to show the public that this is what we do, but I had not one person show up.
and for the logic and accuracy test, you notify the party leaders that the test was going to occur?
I didn't notify anybody. I didn't,
That is
Never
required,
have.
that is definitely required under the statute. The election law
It's publicly advertised.
You,
The report was publicly advertised.
the law actually specifically
report was
states that you must
advertised.
notify the party chair people. And the
Jay,
only
doesn't
way,
state that.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah,
I don't
check
know
on
that
that.
from Mark.
and the only way to verify that would be for you to do that in writing. So I would just say going forward, that's definitely a policy you should implement. And another question as far as this watchers guideline, so is this something that, this is from you or from the state?
it's condensed from what the state has.
Okay, so these are the Lawrence County guidelines.
Yeah.
Okay, so was this approved at a public meeting to implement these guidelines? Because, and so the other question is, what other policies and procedures do you have written that the public can have access to review?
I would assume that was probably approved. If it was approved by the board, it would have been a long time ago. If not, it would have just been handled administratively by the elections office.
Okay, but you can't put out policies and rules that the public doesn't know about or that weren't approved. Again, sunshine law, you know these
Where'd you find?
policies and procedures are very important to me.
The public, I
Tim
do that.
handed this to me this morning.
That the public doesn't know about, where'd you find those at?
Tim
I did.
handed it to me this morning.
That's what I've been handing out.
So in particular, one of the, almost everything bulleted here has a statute associated with it, except that mobile phones and cameras are prohibited. And that is not under the election law, that you can't take a phone or a camera in. So I have a question about that.
Well,
because-
That's been a policy since I can remember, that no electronic devices were allowed in any of the polling
You
areas.
have to have a written policy approved at a public meeting.
Which it was many years ago.
So-
There is a
so I can get
statute.
Copy, so I can get a copy
Do a
of
right
that.
to know request and you can have one, sure.
So how is it that candidates who are running for office are often recorded by the media who will come in and show them casting?
In those counties, that is permitted. We've made the determination to avoid the risk of an individual being photographed filling out a ballot privately. To avoid that risk, that's why a prior board of elections implemented that policy. Now, some counties, yes, the media follows them right in, I've seen it. But in this county, for the protection of the privacy of the voter while he or she is voting, to avoid anyone snapping a picture of them casting a ballot, that's why that policy was implemented.
Okay.
There is,
We'll let
yeah,
Carrie finish, we'll sort of back then.
I think that's all my questions then. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Lynn, circling back.
So. The state's, so the state statute changed on October 5th. And it states that poll watchers can video, and they cannot video, like you said, someone casting a ballot. But if something happens inside of a polling place, they have to be quiet, but they can use an electronic device to video what's going on. That changed on October 5th this year.
All right, well,
There's a statute,
Jason, add that to the list. He's writing it down now. And,
because he doesn't have enough to do today.
or tomorrow.
That's okay, nothing wrong with clarification.
No,
If it alleviates anything.
Right, I was on a Zoom call with legal, and
Yes.
on October 5th, that all changed.
Good.
I even questioned it,
Second.
I even questioned it, and they said that changed statewide on October 5th, so just to clarify.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any additional public comment?
Sorry. Trying to kill me. Please don't break my leg yet.
34 hours, right? All right, on that note, there's no further comment. I will take a motion to approve the minutes from October 27th.
So moved.
Second, we have motion to second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Election Director's report. Tim, do you have anything to report before the board today?
I have the official stats that I turned in for voter registration. And as of right now, I have 56,378 registered voters in the county. I don't have a breakdown by party, but that, I just have the official report.
May I pose a question?
Yes,
Say that number again, please.
Are you looking at the minutes?
Yeah,
yeah, I was just looking at it too. 56,378 is what I ended on November 3rd.
okay, because that changed by 2, if
Two.
I'm reading this correct.
That
Our
would be-
meeting was the 27th, which was the Thursday, I believe,
Yes,
and then Monday
Yes,
it ended, yeah.
okay.
Only 2 additional.
Thank you.
between the cancellations and everything else, yeah.
That's true too,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I had
Very
that.
good.
Of course, we talked about the undated ballots. We're following the guidelines sent by the state that I have. And
And
then
they are segregated.
they are
They're
segregated, yes, yes. And like I said, I tried to get a hold of these people. I gave them a call. Actually gave them 2 callbacks, so they didn't come back to me, so I haven't segregated as of right now. So I have 17 of them undated. I have 2 ballots that were sent in regular envelopes with that, so I can't even scan them in or do anything with them, but so they're aside. they won't be counted. And 2 with no signature. So that would bring up the total actually to 19 with the 2 that I got that were not in an official envelope. With all that said, we sent out, or were asked for 7,477 applications. With that, we have ballots returned to us right now, and I did this, when I do this report, Sunday. I have 6,516 that are in the office now. I anticipate a number more today. And then tomorrow, all of those ballots that come in, as far as mail-in, will be segregated till the end of the night and then counted, after 8. That way we can get a grand total. That way, the poll books and everything stay regulated. So that's what I have to report. We're very busy, very contentious election. And I mind everybody to be calm throughout this election because from what I've seen throughout the last week, it has been very not calm. I've been getting a lot of complaints. I've been accused of everything from climate change to their taxes, and I'm simply the election director trying to keep this together. So I would
And
ask,
doing a fine job.
thank you, and I try, and
Yes.
we try our best. Yes, mistakes happen, that's just human nature. We try to make everything easy as we can and accurate as we can. So we are doing our best that we can. But other than that, so far, we're just getting hit with a lot of these watcher certificates, which is hard with the phone calls coming in.
I signed about 300 of them this morning.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
When you gave me carpal tunnel.
More than I've ever seen in the 15 years that I've been here. So, but of course, transparency is
Absolutely.
the name of the game here, and we are doing our very best to do that.
Absolutely. New business, does any member of the board have any new business to be brought before the board? The only thing I will note is if you are a watcher, of which there are many, and you have anything that you believe needs to be reported, either contact your party chair, contact the elections office. Do not interfere in any way with voting taking place at your precinct. If you are a watcher, your job is to watch. If you do have something to report, please leave the precinct, give us a call, give your party chairs a call, and we'll take it from there. But if you are a watcher, your job is to watch.
Thank you.
And on that note, I will,
Before you do that,
yes, got Dale standing out there too. Sorry, that's all.
before we recess, which I think that's your
Yes.
Yes.
plan, I do want to extend appreciation to Tim and his staff. We have seen firsthand how hard they've been working, how diligent they have been. You were here all weekend, along with most of
I
your
have
staff.
been here for the last 3 weekends.
So we greatly appreciate all that you've done.
Absolutely.
Thank the folks who came today. We appreciate your interest in this process and in your involvement. Quite frankly, I wish more people would come to these meetings. But thank you for being here and thank you for your interest. And as Commissioner Boyd noted, when you have questions, bring them to us. We'll do our best to answer them. And thanks to my 2 colleagues, because you folks have been also very hardworking and diligent during this process. Appreciate it.
It's a team game.
That it
Team
is.
game, and everybody's doing the best.
And hopefully we don't have a recount.
Oh, I bet we will.
I mean, I love you
My
guys,
prediction.
but really,
You've lived through 2 of them in the last 2 years.
no, in the last 12 months.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
all
That's
have
right.
lived that dream,
That's
yes.
right. Spring of this
Yes.
year.
One was
One was the judge's race and one was the
I have
Republican.
been
Senate.
baptized by fire.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, hey, I'm right there with you, Tim.
I forgot how close, you're right.
Yeah,
General
no,
and primary.
Yep.
Well, that's enough.
Exactly. Please, third time's the charm. No, let's not have the third time.
We'll see what happens. I can see the Senate race very easily going into a recount.
Oh,
We'll see what happens. On that note, with 33 hours and 30 minutes to go until close of polls.
no, you said the thank you, I would just reiterate everything that you said, and yes,
Beautiful.
Okay.
I will take a motion to recess to the call of the chair.
so moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Lawrence County Board of Elections is recessed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor?
You're welcome.
So they didn't close the building. It's still an open meeting. They're just in recess.
Thank you for joining us.
Nice to have
Thanks, ladies.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says that the statute is that they
Read my
have to
staff.
announce it.
Might vote.
They can announce it.
Were you talking about?
Okay, no, I
But I
thought
have
the
it,
list, okay, not after the
Okay.
election, I thought,
Okay.
I